You've just seen the expression of ADHD in childhood and adolescence. We'll now see together the expression of the disorder in adults. So how is it for adults? Let's start with hyperactivity. In adults, we will find the same symptoms as in children and adolescents, namely attentional difficulties and/or hyperactivity or impulsivity. However, the expression of the symptoms will be significantly different. Indeed, in general, we will observe in adults an attenuation of the symptoms of hyperactivity. Typically, an adult will not run or climb everywhere or move all the time, but will rather feel an inner tension, a feeling of restlessness, especially if he or she is required to remain seated, for example. The person will have difficulty in standing relaxed. Hyperactivity will therefore manifest itself in a more subtle way, like beating nails, playing with air, tapping on a table, a tendency to avoid situations perceived as boring, such as meetings or family meals, unless someone finds strategies to overcome the inconvenience caused by these meals, such as cooking or taking care of the barbecue. Hyperactivity will not necessarily be a problem for the person who suffers from it, and will most often be revealed during couple conflicts. It is indeed the partner who will suffer. He or she always needs to do something. The holidays, we can never rest. We are exhausted. Relatives will complain about the fact that the person with ADHD talks all the time, takes up too much space. For example, when they are with friends. Driving will often be very problematic with risk-taking and often uncontrollable nervousness. Accidents, sometimes serious, are not uncommon. If hyperactivity should be a problem, it will often be for indirect reasons. I can't sleep because I'm thinking all the time. As soon as I open my eyes, it prevents me from going back to sleep. Certain strategies, such as practicing intense sports, can sometimes help to control this hyperactivity, but this will often be to the detriment of family life. So what about attention difficulties? Contrary to hyperactivity, which tends to diminish or become internalized with age, with the increase in cognitive demands, we will observe an increase in attentional difficulties, which will often be the reason for consultation with a specialist. Symptoms can sometimes go unnoticed, and you will have to look for them scrupulously, both at work and at home or with loved ones. At work, does the person take too much time to complete the task or miss deadlines? Has he been pointed out that he makes mistakes, that he has been fired for this reason? Of course, certain working conditions, such as open spaces, will be particularly problematic because they are sources of major distractions. At home, or with friends, procrastination will be felt in every task, such as cleaning, taxes, or paying bills. It is not uncommon for someone with ADHD to have reminders or even debts. Forgetting appointments, difficulties in organizing daily activities, such as shopping or organizing a meal, but also loss of objects, such as mobile phones or keys, are often source of conflicts in couples. Relatives may complain that everything is in a mess, that the person does several tasks at the same time without ever completing one, or that the person does not listen to what is said, that he or she seems bored in conversations. Even the adaptive mechanism can be a source of conflict. An ADHD person who has become rigid and obsessive for fear of losing or forgetting things will quickly become intrusive for those around them. Having an exhausted partner doing all the administrative tasks of the family is also an issue. In general, in adults, attentional difficulties can decompensate during any major environmental changes. Birth of a child, moving, change of a job, retirement, and so on. All these changes required to be organized, able to plan, to be able to pay attention to details, everything that can be lacking in a person with ADHD. The person with ADHD may complain that their concentration at work or at home is often problematic. It is not uncommon to hear a patient saying that he or she can read few pages of a book or watch a program on the television without knowing at all what is it about. The screens will, as in children and adolescents, be very difficult to manage. These difficulties in concentrating, in organizing themselves, in feeling quickly overwhelmed, will quickly result in emotional overflows, which will very often be at the forefront in adults. Breaking out objects, shouting, insults against one's partner or colleagues, inappropriate remarks. Finally, we will not forget that with age, the probabilities of psychiatric comorbidities, so other psychiatric disorders, will increase and will often be a reason for consultation, often hiding ADHD, like depression, anxiety, burnout, addiction, personality disorder, which are among the most common. So, and in the elderly, how is it? In the elderly, it will be much the same. It should be noted that the retirement is a major stress factor that can highlight difficulties that have gone unnoticed until then and which can be revealed when the partners are led to live together more often. Note that attention difficulties, forgetfulness, and memory loss may suggest the onset of dementia or depression, and you should not miss ADHD. So as you will have understood, ADHD in adults will cause many problems in the life of the person concerned. And it will often be a question of considering the opinion of relatives to identify all difficulties associated with the symptoms, which will manifest themselves both in professional, family, and social life. It will also be a question of not forgetting the emotional difficulties as well as comorbidities. In the next sequence, you will see the testimony of an adult suffering from ADHD.